As the crowd trickles in here, I'll go ahead and give us a little intro. This is Midweek with Max. I'm your host this week, Jeremy Nation, filling in for our good friend Rick. And we've got a pretty good show today. I don't believe we have a partner joining us, so we'll be able to jump right in to the marketing update. I know that Phil usually gives that, but because I'm here, I can give that. Hemi has been churning forward with a very successful event at Permissionless. We're looking forward to providing a little bit more details about token generation events very soon. And we've been having a stellar time in the media. We've had amazing opportunities with a lot of our founders talking to some people. So keep your eyes peeled for those podcasts. And keep your eyes peeled for taking care of his pet from Walla, indeed. And keep your eyes peeled for the news stories that are likely to be published very soon in the media. In the meantime, we've actually got a pretty great show today. Engineering updates are on the horizon here from Max. Max, what's been turning away in the engineering room?
Yeah, good question. I think, why don't we give another 2-ish minutes for people to trickle in, and then I'll be happy to jump into some engineering updates.
Most excellent. By the way, I've seen some amazing stuff in the community feeds in terms of the memes and the things that you guys have been making with AI in terms of the mascots. Really great. I mean, I love to see it on Twitter, and I think you guys are really the heartbeat of Hemi. So keep that up.
I know I got to get more active on social media as well. So every time I go into Twitter, it's such a distraction, but there's a lot of awesome stuff going on around Hemi on Twitter. So I'll go engage with it and have some fun.
Yeah, they've turned the Hemi intern into a real living avatar, I would say.
The intern's hilarious. All right, we'll give people about 2 more minutes.
While you're waiting, if you haven't already submitted an Ask Me Anything question for that segment of the show, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll get to all your questions in a timely manner. By the way, happy July, everyone. This is the month I was born. Been 29 for 13 years now. I'll be celebrating my 14th birthday as 29 coming up on July 3rd. Very patriotic birthday.
I may need to adopt your staying at the age of 29. I've got a year to make that decision.
Just look in the mirror every day and convince yourself, I'm 29. All the cellular mitosis and meiosis that takes place today will generate 29-year-old cells.
Telomeres, what are those?
Magic mirror.
All right, cool. We're 5 past the hour, so I'm going to kick off with some engineering updates, and then we will... I don't think we have anyone from marketing today to give an update. I think they're busy with follow-up for Permissionless and then also some stuff at ETHCC. But if anyone hops on, we'll bring them on stage to give a marketing update as well. Jumping into engineering. So we had an issue with some node operators last Wednesday prior to the Pectra upgrade, getting everyone aligned on updating everything in time. So we did end up delaying the Pectra upgrade to this Thursday. So this Thursday at, I want to say 11 a.m. ET, we'll be rolling out the Pectra upgrade on Hemi mainnet. Also, Joshua, if he hasn't already, is going to be soon creating a node. Oh, I think we actually have it. The node updates channel that just got added under notifications. So we'll be posting all the upgrade info there momentarily, and then all future updates to anyone running both testnet and mainnet nodes that people need to be aware of. We'll be posting those there. So as we have more people running nodes now, we need a central location to broadcast that information. We may also set up a Telegram channel, but for now, for the foreseeable future, that's all going to live under the node updates channel in Discord. And so, again, if you're running a mainnet node, we'll be posting the updated flags and releases you need to be running prior to Thursday around 10, 11 a.m. Eastern in order to stay in sync with the network. We also did take a snapshot of Hemi hatchlings from testnet as of last Wednesday, I believe it was, and we should have those issued by mainnet on mainnet by end of day tomorrow. And we're also we scheduled the developer AMA. I'm not sure if we've announced the date for that yet, but working around people's schedules, the time we decided was Wednesday, July 9th, at the same time as Midweek with Max. So it'll be Tuesday, Midweek with Max as usual, and then 24 hours later, Wednesday, same time, that will be the engineering AMA. And we're looking forward to having some interesting, more tech-focused discussions there. So if you have any good tech deep dive questions, you can submit those in the coming days, and we can all answer those as an engineering group on that call again on Wednesday, July 9th, same time as Midweek with Max, which is 11 a.m. ET. And we're also working on the final merge for a bunch of the BFG and BFG and PopMiner Daemon refactoring. So we've merged in a couple of those PRs. We're merging in a few final PRs to get all the dust settled there. So we'll be announcing more information on those, what the updates look like, how to use them, all of that in the near future. And let's see, still finalizing the BitVM white paper, so looking forward to getting that out very, very soon. We found some additional optimizations to make, given some specific ways that theory of Gasper works. And so we're doing some final review on that new content. We'll be getting that out in the near future. And I think that is all the main stuff from the engineering side. So, Jeremy, I'll kick it over to you and we can start going through questions.
What would a midweek with Max be if we didn't ask some questions? Now, these questions have been curated across the last week with you guys coming in and asking, and we'll kick it off with the general questions. And I think that we get this question every week, but I'll have to ask it anyway. When will the token generation event and tokenomic dates be finalized?
Very soon to ultra soon. I know I said probably expect an update on that before the end of the month, which was June. There's still a couple final tiny pieces coming together, but that should be getting out there in the very near future. So there's a couple final pieces we're waiting on, but that we should have an update on that very, very soon.
When TGE, Max? When TGE, indeed.
We also should have more information on that very soon as well. And I understand the frustration with things moving around and uncertainty, but there's a lot of uncertainty on our side too that we're collapsing waves on, and so we're getting everything finalized so we can announce the date and stick to it versus just announcing dates and having to move stuff around as stuff shifts under us. But again, updates on that very, very soon. Is all that information is coming imminently.
Better to do it right than haphazardly, I say. Now, moving on to node license.
We'd love to share information, but if that information is just going to be confusing and we're not certain about it, we don't want to share stuff that's not finalized and then have to change stuff on people. So I understand the frustration, but it's better to, like Jeremy said, better to do it right once than to do it wrong several times. So I want to make sure everything we announce is final carved in stone.
Moving on to node licenses, are there any updates for node license holders?
No updates on that side. As I've stated in previous weeks, the node license market, there's just not a lot of interest in it currently, and so it doesn't make sense to re-engage it. As always, if you did buy a node license, you will be taken care of. Either you'll get the node license you bought, or you'll get something that is equivalent and requires less work. So either of getting what you expected or getting something that's what you expected minus the work you have to put into it. So no updates on there besides we're not planning on doing any public node sale at this time. That could always change in the future, but unlikely given the current node sale market. But if you did already buy one, you will definitely be taken care of.
As a follow-up to that, is it possible to receive a refund for a node license?
Not at this time. That may be something we explore. But at this point, if you bought a node, you'll either get the node or something equivalent to it, but we're not at the moment doing refunds.
All right, let's move this right forward here. Rewards and TVL. Can you share internal projections on how much TVL Hemi is anticipated to reach by 2030?
That varies by so much. I don't even think I could share a useful answer on that. It depends on so many things. Hemi adoption of L3s through Chain Builder in the future when that's released. A lot of the TVL and Hemi post activation of BitVM is going to be Bitcoin locked in BitVM vaults, and so depending on how much adoption we get on the bridging Bitcoin or tunneling Bitcoin through Hemi to Ethereum, that would have a major impact on total network TVL. Also, if we build internally or third party builds that Bitcoin staking system we mentioned a few times, the native Bitcoin staking idea, that would be a major source of TVL as well. But yeah, there's so many different factors that go into that. I mean, the optimistic goal is far, far more than we have today. But again, there's so many factors that go into it. Depends what DApps we get, what traction we get with them, how much our tunneling is used, not just to bring assets onto Hemi, but through Hemi to other networks, the adoption of Chain Builder, and just also the crypto industry in general. If the price of all cryptos doubles, then everyone's TVL also doubles. And so part of baked into a TVL prediction by 2030 is also a prediction of the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum by 2030 as well, which I think if any of us knew, we'd be definitely trading on that information.
Yeah. It's sometimes difficult when you go so far in the future in crypto when like a week is equivalent to a decade. Moving ahead, when will mainnet and testnet points finish being updated?
So I'll start with testnet points. So all we have to do, we have one more recalculation of the testnet pop points for some users, and then everything should be finished. We should be getting that done soon. We had an issue with some data exports from Absent that still aren't complete, but I think we've resolved that and have the full complete export to rerun the calculation on, so we'll be doing that ideally sometime in the next couple days. There's some other priorities with Pectra getting upgraded on mainnet and some last minute things there with coordinating with node operators, so that's taking some of the team's time. But we do hope to get that finished up very soon now that we got the updated data from Absent. For mainnet, that will walk backwards from a TGE date. So once we carve a date in stone, we'll walk backwards for the end of the mainnet season 1. And then that end date of mainnet season 1 will effectively be, the closure of mainnet season 1 points. But then we'll have a couple days baked in at least to address any issues people had with any of their points calculations looking incorrect for any of the DApps.
Now, to kind of expound on the points questions, there are some liquidity pools related to vCred Max and Hair tokens, namely ETH Max, ETH Hair, VUSD Hair, Hair Max, vCred Max. And the question is, when will the following, or those liquidity pools I mentioned, be included in point calculations?
I don't actually have an update on that. That'd be a question for John Greenwood. So Jeremy, if we could pass that along to John, he can answer that async. I'm not sure if we're planning to incentivize those pairs. I don't want to say yes or no. I just haven't. I'm usually not in those in-depth conversations of which pools are getting incentivized with everything else going on. But yeah, let's send that off to John Greenwood and get an answer.
Duly noted. I will make a note of that. Next question. When will the mainnet snapshot be taken?
So mainnet, assuming this is under the context of points, the mainnet point snapshot will be the end time that we announce for the end of mainnet season 1. So if we announce, say, for example, it was, today in an hour, which it's definitely not, but just to talk about a time, for example's sake. So say that was, noon on July 1st today, then we would have, that's when the snapshot would be taken, and only on-chain activities up to that point in time would be used for the snapshot. But then we'd have a couple days at a minimum, potentially, up to a week of time between that and the actual distribution of any rewards for people to, for us to finalize and double check calculations on our side. And also if anyone sees any calculations incorrect on their side, for them to reach out for us to look into them. So the snapshot date will be when mainnet season 1 ends. So those are the same time. And then only on-chain activity between the start of season 1 and the end of season 1 at that snapshot date will be counted, even though there will be that additional period at the end for double checking all the math, making sure that we're looking at all the right pools in case there were no pools added close to the end of mainnet season 1, and addressing any point discrepancies that people see.
Moving on ahead. Why hasn't Hemi switched to another platform other than Absinthe? Absinthe has been working very slowly to fix bugs and errors.
Part of this, so there's definitely been some issues with Absinthe, and fundamentally, they've put a lot of platform improvements in place. They've still got a lot on their roadmap that'll make things a lot better. And switching points providers is a massive undertaking. It's basically rebuilding everything that we've built for, last year plus with Absinthe, rebuilding that on a new platform. And so for now, we are sticking with Absinthe. That may change in the future. But one of the benefits of Absinthe is they provide a lot of flexibility. So we're able to say, hey, this DApp works like this, and you need to look at these events, or look at this data every block, or whatever it may need to be, and they'll go write custom adapters that understand that information. A lot of the other points providers, and this is not my area of expertise, but a lot of the other points providers are much less flexible. So even though they may perform better, they're limited to a smaller amount of on-chain data that they can look at and calculate points from, and they can't do custom stuff that we need. For example, other points providers may not have been able to handle, pop points from testnet. Some of them may not be able to handle new, dexes that we're bringing on that behave differently from, SushiSwap / Uniswap forks, things of that nature. So it is something we may change in the future, and I'm sure John would have a better answer and some more insights there, because he's got the ball on most of the point stuff. But that flexibility is one of the benefits, and that does come with some edge cases that you have to smooth over, recalculate, rerun indexing for, stuff of that nature.
Certainly.
But I will
Moving
also
on to our next. Go ahead.
I think I can announce this. We've integrated, or are very close to finishing integration with Subsquid, and Absinthe is going to be moving a lot of their backend calculations over to using Subsquid. So that should make the actual raw data feed from on-chain data to Absinthe a lot more reliable once they transition over to Subsquid. I don't know the ETA on that, but that is one other thing that's in the works that'll improve Absinthe performance and stability.
Okay, so perhaps a more stable Absinthe lies in our future with that update. Moving on to our next topic, we have a couple questions about NFTs. First one, when will Hemi Hatchlings NFTs be moved to mainnet?
I already front-run this during the intro, but we did the snapshot as of last Wednesday, and they should be minted on mainnet by end of day tomorrow.
Most excellent. And then following up with that, when will a new NFT marketplace launch on Hemi?
Still TBD. I know, as I think John mentioned a week or two ago, there are a couple in the queue. There's at least one in the queue. I believe there's multiple in the queue. I don't know an ETA on them deploying, but they are definitely in the works.
All right. Moving on to our technical questions. How is Hemi's architecture specifically built to handle the demands of AI in a way that other blockchains can?
It's a good question. How much time do we have? Keeping it high level, there's a couple interesting things from an AI perspective with Hemi. The first one is the Bitcoin anchoring, or Bitcoin timestamping, that we get with proof of proof. And so if you're doing stuff with AI, there's a lot of use cases for timestamping either the state of a certain model at a point in time, or proving that a certain model produced a certain output at a certain point in time. Looking further into the future, some of the tech is still congealing to make this possible, but zero-knowledge machine learning is going to be, in my opinion, a major step forward for people being able to have more trust in AI. And again, that there's a lot of different kinds of trust in AI. There's trust it won't take over the world, and no matter how much you timestamp an AI, you can't stop it from becoming sentient, right? A little tongue-in-cheek there, but there is a lot of concerns about the supply chain for AI data training. So if you have, and we've seen this with OpenAI and the lawsuit that the New York Times had against them for training their AI models on copyrighted data, copyrighted information, copyrighted data. And so one of the things in the future, once the technology kind of reaches demand, you'll be able to zero-knowledge prove training of an AI model with specific data. And so you can imagine like an on-chain IP marketplace where you can buy the right to use certain data sets to train certain types of AI models. And then you could produce a ZK proof that you did train your AI model with only that data that you had license to. And then you could timestamp that to Bitcoin. So you could prove basically a completely Bitcoin authenticated audit trail of sourcing the IP, training a model with the IP, and then having a model that then you can prove inference on, again, using ZK, that you could say, okay, I have a model that was trained on, fully ethical licensed data. That model looks like this. You sent a query. I ran inference on that query against this model. Here's the result. And you can have all that proven timestamp to Bitcoin end to end. So that's an interesting use case. Beyond that, I think the way that we're approaching our chain builder architecture lends itself more to on-chain AI applications versus a lot of other L3 ecosystems. So one of the things with chain builder we're going to be prioritizing is the flexibility in design decisions that other L3s can make versus our standard reference implementations. So being able to, for example, swap out the EVM very easily with a virtual machine that's optimized for the types of operations that doing on-chain AI inference requires. And so supporting that in the L3 side, being able to spin up chains that can choose different trade-offs between security, decentralization, cost, speed to finality, or speed to confirmation, and then to some extent speed to finality, although that's all still going to funnel through proof of proof as a security aggregation layer. But giving chain developers the ability to tune that a lot more and have that flexibility lets them build not just AI, they can build gaming optimized chains, AI optimized chains, chains that are optimized for a single DApp use case like asset trading in a DEX or a lending protocol. But I think giving that flexibility, if you want to see on-chain AI applications that operate in L3 ecosystems, the architecture and the way that we're approaching chain builder is going to give developers the flexibility to optimize their chain's architecture in whatever way makes sense for that use case, whether that, again, be AI, gaming, asset trading, so on and so forth.
You mentioned the proof of proof mining. Another question about that is when will the new proof of proof mining algorithm be rolled out?
I hate to give a lot of soon answers, but that one's also soon. Probably within the next week or so. Probably by the end of next week, that should be in and live, which means we'll be announcing it a few days prior, so people understand the new mechanics for Pop Reward calculation.
Is a new Pop Stats dashboard for mainnet in the works, or is that no longer planned?
We are definitely going to do one. We are not currently working on that. There's other priorities the team's tackling, but we do want to do a version of that for mainnet. Don't have an ETA on that, but we definitely will do one, and it will be a lot better looking than the one that we used for testnet that I made the UI for myself in HTML tables.
Now, in a previous Midweek with Max, you said that you would look into the amount of Bitcoin spent by pop miners. Do you have any insights on that?
I have not had a chance to do that yet, but I'll definitely have an answer on that next week.
All right. And then we have one question of the other category. When will the prize of 25K be distributed to the Satori team? We had a $25,000 Satori trading competition, and the top members of Total Liquidity and I think the P&L, those who had the best figures there, an amount of 25,000 in US dollar coin was distributed or is to be distributed to the leaderboard holders. Do you have any insights on that?
I don't personally. That's all on the BD side. So if we had John here, he could give an update. John's at ETHCC, by the way, with I believe the rest of the BD team this week. So he's not going to be making a presence on Discord more than likely this week. I don't have an update on that. I would assume very soon, but I don't know the exact details of that campaign.
All right. Well, don't worry about it. That wraps up our questions. Now, we don't have a community partner here, so I do want to just thank you guys all for attending. And thank the Discord mods for holding this down. In the meantime, I know you guys are a rowdy bunch, and you give them their money's worth. So, Max, do you have any parting thoughts that you'd like to share with us today?
I think that's pretty much it. So anyone who came out and saw us in Permissionless. I unfortunately wasn't able to make it out there, but I know Phil gave a great update on Permissionless or from Permissionless last week, and we put out a lot of social media content around that with more to come. And a lot of the team is, a lot of the BD team at least is at ETHCC, and we do have a couple events. I believe that we're either sponsoring or hosting ourselves. And so stay tuned on socials for that. If you are in, I believe it's Nice, France, is where ECC is. And yeah, stay tuned for updates on TG and tokenomics, hopefully coming very, very soon. And also stay tuned for the upcoming BitVM white paper that we'll be releasing hopefully by the end of the week or early next week in preparation for our engineering AMA, so we can discuss a lot of the content in there, as I'm sure there'll be some interesting questions that come out of that. And without further ado, looking forward to seeing everyone next week. And also, if you're running a mainnet node, make sure you keep an eye on that new node updates channel, and we'll be posting all the information for the Pectra upgrade there in the next hour or two.
A lot of great stuff for Hemi up on the horizon. And remember, we wouldn't be as strong as we were without a great community like you guys. So thank you for tuning into this week's Midweek with Max. And we're looking forward to providing answers to all your questions next week, as well as giving you insights into the engineering with our engineering AMA. So tune into that both Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And we look forward to seeing you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.